Hey everyone, what's up? And welcome to the drilling part of how to play against calling stations. To quickly go over it, in every one of these hands we're going to talk about how we would adjust to a flop station, to a turn station, or to a river station. The hands, of course, are not played against these kind of guys, so you'll just be clicking through random hands, and we'll talk about what adjustments I would make with each hand starting from the flop. So we need to filter for flop, and all we need to do is hero soft flop, and let's do this. Okay. So, basically looking at hands where we're the pre-flop raiser and we saw the river. So we'll start out and see how it goes. And I need to make it, I think, not heads up, yes. Sorry, there's a replayer. So here we raise Queen Jack. So yeah, if the guy is a flop station and that's it, I would say, it's tough with the SPR. Okay, and here I want to put some more nuance in. So it's tough with the SPR. B, small blind ranges tend to be a bit stronger. But yeah, generally, if I think the guy's a flop station, like he floats flop too much, I'd probably go ahead and just barrel off Queen Jack. I think that would be, floats flop too much, maybe floats turn too much, I don't know. But I think that would be the line I go for with Queen Jack. Alternate option would be to check back. And the worst possible option, of course, would be to see bet flop and give up. Never want to do that. So here, I bet flop. And of course, we could play with the sizings. If I were to check back this and bet just good hands, I would look to bet bigger. But very often the fact that the guy is a flop station has to do with your sizing. So you can't really vary the sizing. The read is always going to be connected to the sizing, and usually flop stations are against small sizes. So yeah, min bet, bet turn, so good play. And here on the Queen of Diamonds river, without reads, it's close. It's close because specifically at this SPR, like if this is 100 deep, you probably check back. But here, 10 would probably check raise for villain. Flush draw is likely to check raise a lot. So we just have the best hand a lot and we're just up against sevens. So I don't think betting would be terrible. And yeah, so we're actually up against trips. So in terms of note taking, you want to note that the guy called small blind with Jack 10 off, which might cause us to make pre-flop adjustments. And you want to note that he did not check raise you with Jack 10. And what kind of adjustment? Not on the flop and not on the turn. So of course it's fine to not check raise Jack 10. I can kind of imagine people seeing this and saying, well, Jack 10 is a mixed check raise. What are you reading into this for? But I have lots of experience with poker and poker players, and very, very often people are often skewed in one way or the other. And we just collect information. If this is my only information data point, and I had to think, is this guy more likely GTO, RNG, the correct check raise, blah, 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 or he doesn't check raise very wide on the flop, I would go with option B, especially given he's sitting 20 deep and he calls small blind with Jack 10 off like that. There are plenty of reasons to go with option B. But even as a default, you go with option B and you always remember, right? Either A, he's RNGing and then all my adjustments don't matter because he's balanced, GTO, it's a draw. Or B, I'm correct and then I win tons of money. Or C, I'm wrong the opposite way, which is very unlikely given the showdown. So it's worth a gamble, pretty much, is what I'm saying. So if I think the guy is not check raising enough, the adjustment that I want to make is to, the same as someone who's not 3-betting enough, is to go for a range bet and possibly bigger size. So just half pop my range on a flop and take it from there. Now, if he's not check raising enough and he's a flop station, we're getting into a bit too nuanced territory, I think, for this drill. So go to the next one here. We 4-bet, so not a good example. Okay. So here, button versus big blind. If the guy is a flop station, bet. If the guy is a turn station, bet. I mean, this is just a value hand, right? We're going bet against any type of station very clearly. And we might want to go bigger sizings. So any type of station, I'm betting the turn because he's calling too many weaker hands. And it's true that this is a bit of a nuanced thing about something like Queen 10 of diamonds. So you chop with all his other queens, but not on like 20% of rivers where you river a flush. So you're actually pushing a decent amount of the pot share. And this is a value bet. If I bet he calls Queen 10, I am winning, more than my fair share of what's going into the pot. So I would bet. Yeah, bet river. Okay. BBB. And okay, so flop station, really easy. 2-barrel with king jack, or bet flop check all turn with king jack. Both of those are reasonable options. If he is a turn station, I would probably go ahead and check flop with king jack. But if not, I could bet flop. This is a hand that in theory bets flop and checks turn a decent amount. So you could do whatever on the flop with king jack against a turn station as long as you don't bet turn. If he is a river station, similarly, flop play doesn't matter, but I would lean towards not betting the turn. I don't want to get to the river with this hand and give up some runouts. That's going to be bad, and it obviously doesn't have much showdown by the time it gets to the river. It's like okay-ish, right? Like this is a draw. Just to give you guys perspective, BVB, King Jack high is good enough where I could go bet and a bricky run out and actually check all the river. Like that is a reasonable line with King Jack because I beat King 10 and Jack 10 and whatever turn flush draws they're going to be, but not really something I would advise doing. I think, check flop is good. If you want to bet this flop, it's a really good flop for you. Bet the flop, check the turn. Don't really go bet. So here we bet flop, check turn, checks back. And here again, we're on the river against someone who's presumably some kind of station. So King Jack in theory should show down. Obviously show it down. Obviously, right? Like never bet. Okay? And we show down win against King 10. I'm sad I didn't bet the turn because probably I would have called and still shown down and won. But yeah, who knows? Okay, next hand we have button versus big blind A7-3 rainbow. Pocket kings. So let's say we're playing against a flop station. We definitely want to bet kings and we definitely want to check kings on the turn. And it's a really good situation for us. And then we bluff catch any river. If we're playing against a turn station, we can bet flop and underbet the turn. And that's also a fairly nice line. You can also bet flop, check turn, and whatever river. It's also okay. Because kings doesn't need the protection. And then underbet the turn with jacks or tens or queens, like those types of hands. If he's a river station, kings doesn't matter. It's not a bluff, I guess. But if the guy was a river station, I would look, like I said, let's say I have something like 6-5 suited. I would probably look to check back 6-5 suited on the flop. If I have something like 10-9 suited, maybe bet flop, check turn. Even if I improve to a draw and just try to slow down as much as we can. Pretty much. Yeah, in the hand, it's like I check back. That's half pot. And interesting scenario. So maybe you have bet sizing tells. in the live play video I did before, I was just bluff raising this. Here I think kings is good enough to value raise clearly, so I would hope to see myself raise kings. I think this is a punt by me to not raise with kings. So yeah, not on my best game, but I do think kings should have been raising. Okay, so here you see me open button with 10 deuce suited. Already we can understand one of the players in the blinds is not a top reg, and I'm making some pre-flop exploit. 4-5-8 rainbow. So if the guy's a flop station, we want to 2-barrel 10 deuce. But this is not a board where 2-barreling 10 deuce is gonna come over well. So if I want to hide information, I'd check back 10 deuce and 2-barrel with something more reasonable. If the guy's a turn station, check back 10 deuce. If the guy's a river station, check back 10 deuce. Right? That doesn't matter in this case. So here we check back, turn a flush draw, villain under bets we call, he bets river over bet, we fold. Okay. Here again, same guy, you can see I'm opening loose against him. And we get ace-8 deuce rainbow, so flop station, I would like to 2-barrel a lot. Do I want to go with 10-7? Not sure. I think it would be okay to give up. It's not really a hand that's supposed to 2-barrel many runouts. And I am out of position. I guess I could close my eyes and triple 10-7, but it's just so far off. I think I might rather check flop. But yeah, here with bet flop, of course. Turn a gut shot, definitely bet this against the flop calling station. Definitely give this up against the turn calling station. If we decided to bet flop for whatever reason, just give up. This hand is rarely going to show down. And if it does go check on the turn, I would bluff river just to not look like super passive guy for giving up. Okay, over bet turn, villain calls. King of spades river, so you'll probably see me bluffing the 10-7 with a spade. It's not easy to get here with bluffs that contain a spade and are not flushes, because the low gut shots are suited hands and stuff like. I shouldn't even have this hand in my range, right? Of course, if I have everything in my range, it's easier. And yeah, here we would want to give up against the river station, but can we give up once we get here with this hand? So it depends on the guy. I would say against a weaker player, yeah, you could give this up if you somehow got here with a river against a river station by accident, which you shouldn't. Like if the guy's a river station, we don't bet the turn for this. But if it's a reg and we somehow got here by accident, then I think we have to fire. Of course, here we fire and get the fold. You guys are going to see me win more of the hands now that I'm filtering for me being the aggressor rather than me facing multiple barrels. So it's going to be more fun. Okay, same guy, same wide open. You see me check flop. So not a play I would make against any type of station. But it's a nice theory play, like it's fine on this board. So it goes check, check the turn. Villain, I think we looked at this hand actually. Yeah, I think we looked at this hand. So we'll skip this one. So king jack, deuce 4-8 rainbow. So check back, obviously super fine. If the guy's a flop station, we go 2-barrel. If he's a turn station, we can either bet flop or check flop. They're both fine, but never bet turn. And if he's a river station, you can do kind of whatever. It's a nice hand to get to the river with because it improves on 6 cards to a value bettable hand. So I guess against the river station, I would definitely bet flop with king jack and bet turns if I think I can barrel the river when I improve. But yeah, here we check back flop, check back turn, face this on the river, fold. So weak. Where's the bluff raise? Those 5k guys, I guess I was not confident about the sizing tells. Okay, so we raise. Three-way, checked around. Yeah, we can skip this one. Here, very interesting board, because this is a board where so much stuff is supposed to mix. And aggro guys will just fire off every ace and every suited jack and maybe every 9 and have a million bluffs. More give-uppy guys will not feel comfortable betting turn without a really strong draw and end up having a too strong range. Our opponents often getting to the river with tons of bluff catchers like Queen Jack, Jack 10, Ace 10, Ace Queen, all those hands, King X, King 5 of hearts. So it's a really dynamic board, really interesting board. Any kind of flop station, any kind of flop return station I would barrel off. River station, probably check back flop. Okay, here we go, min bet. Check back turn, so I'm don't want to bluff this guy, feels like. He bets the river this size. Here a7 has to call because of the flush on the board. It's true that with a flush you would expect the guy to bet bigger, but I think a 9 would also bet smaller, so this can't really value raise. And yeah, we see pocket 4s. Now, should pocket 4s have called flop for our opponent? Pocket 4s with a heart. And as we're building our exploitative game plan, we really want to know our thresholds as much as we can. Right, so we would check this if we're not sure, and go King of Spades, Queen of Hearts, 10 of Hearts. We will go with a 25% flop bet, and I'll just limit the future sizings here. This is something I advise you guys to do as well, because it really is not going to affect the flop check call decision, all this other stuff. Let's see. And then you get the tree running so fast. So, of course, it's 4s with a heart. If I saw 4s without a heart, I wouldn't even bother checking. But 4s with a heart, it still seems so loose when it's King, Queen, 10. And you have to remember, our range is hit King, Queen, 10 a lot. So here we bet everything, and our opponent... Yeah, it's already done. Our opponent against bet everything should fold deuces, fold 3s, call 4s with a heart, small amount of the time, and start calling 5s, 6s, 7s with a heart. So it's right on the threshold in this situation, and then we can't really read into it too much as meaning anything about the guy. He's certainly not over-folding the flop if he's calling a very cuspy hand. So he would be more suspected of being a flop station than over-folding, of course, but not in a way where I'd want to make any big adjustments at this stage. So yeah. And of course I think his river play is fine. Here we raise Jack 9. This is a hand that I would bet against any station in the archetype. Against the turn station, I might like third pot, a half pot turn if I think I can get away with that. Against the flop station, I'd love to check this back on the turn and bluff catch any river. And yeah, not too much going on. You're right, bet flop small. Yeah, and we're doing the turn station player, right? So this is mixed and solver, whatever. If you think the guy's turn station, it's really good. And yeah, did he station turn? No, I mean, like I said, we're just all hypothetical. Okay, let's see if we can get to 20 hands like last time. So we raise. Thuggery. This guy's a good reg, from what I remember. So this is a board that you're not really supposed to c-bet in these positions. And then the default would be to not c-bet, and then you avoid all the station-y tendencies altogether. But if he's a flop station, it's nice to two-barrel, but not with ace-queen though. So yeah, I think this is a spot where, despite all the station-y stuff, I mean, it's just a check-back board, so let's just check back. And now we face the same type of player, and we're like, okay, if you're any type of station-y guy, I never want to bet ace-queen. It's not there, right? Punching bag sim, sure, but station-y guy and not a punching bag, no bet for me. And then once we get to the river, my opponent's station-y, ace-queen should be the best hand enough. So I'd have pot river. Okay. Yeah, because I think by the river, almost any pair should bet for my opponent, and he should have all his ace highs in his range. So if he's stationing, yeah, go for it. I want to bet in it. Okay, here we open ace 8 with the Ben Affleck on the button. to play Ben Affleck. No bet for me, of course, because either I think he's stationy, or he has a sizing tell, or I think I know how he's going to play turn. I quarter pot turn, calls, and I'm in bet river. Okay, so just because it's Ben Affleck, I don't want to talk too much about like how would you adjust to various types, but yeah, generally flop station, we'd want a 2-barrel, but we can't 2-barrel ace-8, so we check. Turn station, we can bet flop, check turn, simple, straightforward hand to do it, or just check flop. And river station, yeah, and it's not a barreling hand. Like out of position barreling, what works a bit different, so it wouldn't, an ace high, wouldn't worry about it too much. Here, what's going on is this some of the river min bet experiments, and the answer I think is, if I had to guess what type of read I had, maybe I had a read he stamps any pair. And that would mean I have the best hand on the turn, and then all the draws bust. So maybe he calls me with a random king 9, or jack 8, or 8 9 5 6, or maybe bluff raises and I was intending to bet call. See, so I was intending to bet call. Now, this was a while ago. I don't remember the hand. I don't know if this is good. It requires some reads, but when you look at the board, all the draws busted. I beat most of them, so it's not very bad. But yeah, obviously we'll lose to a 10, so no read that he doesn't stab a 10, apparently, or incorrect read. And yeah, again, we note the information, we note the sizing, we note the line, and we move on. It's really important when you do something like this, which, you know, obviously I'm being creative, I'm being out of line, and I'm getting owned. I don't know if I'm getting owned, but I'm losing. You shouldn't worry about that. You should always be curious and excited, taking notes. What should I do next time? Was this good? Was this bad? No judgment. I mean, poker is a game. We're playing. We want to learn and do better all the time. So when I see this, I don't feel bad. I just think, well, okay, first of all, this guy's playing more of a polar stabbing strategy. He doesn't stab everything. He doesn't stab linear. Secondly, you know, he lets me kind of buy a cheap river card. And thirdly, this is like pot size raise exactly for value. So I note that pot size was his value size. And, you know, maybe another time he raises me half pot and I do hero call, or he pots the river in some other spot and I hero fold because I think pot is the value size. Or he half pots the river in some other spot and I hero call. Like all these things can happen, so you have to stay positive about losing money. Okay. So Ben Affleck again, 3-handed, we're going to skip. Obora, this is not Poker Stars Obora. This is ACR Obora. So flop station, just go ahead and bet ace-9 and then check down. Because he's calling you with the hands that you beat, and then you call the river. Turn station, bet flop, check back, natural line. River station, yeah, same. So these type of hands don't really change how they play. The type of hands that would change how they play would be I want no one and done with hands that can't win. So if rather than ace-9 I had jack-9, I would not go bet flop, check turn against the flop station. I'd go bet. If I had some hand that had to bluff river, like a 5-7 suited, I'd never bet turn with it against a river station. And yeah, if I improve on the turn, I go thinner. Yeah. So check back. Check back again, though I think it's very, very reasonable to stab the turn, probably a mix. We face this on the river. I would personally always call, because it's so easy for him to bet pairs on the turn. I know. I mean, you probably lose to ace-7. Yeah, we just lose to ace. Oh shit, ace-10. Okay, I am shocked. I'm shocked. That is very surprising to me. If that's good, then this guy is sick good. It's probably good. So he's probably sick good. Okay. So here, Ben Affleck, we open 5-3 off. I hope I have good reads. Check, 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 check. Bluff. Okay. Yeah, but we want heads up flops. So, a raise flop. And here, let's actually, okay, so with king, queen, we can bet flop and try to showdown or check flop. Both are fine because the hand is, beating the flop station hands. I wouldn't go like bet flop into check fold against a flop station. I wouldn't want to go bet against anyone. So let's talk more about Ben Affleck and the King 10 read we have. So we have the sizing pot, we have the not raising turn, and we have the check back flop. Those are not enough to construct a strategy. We bet flop, we get the ace of hearts, now we check, and he checks back. And now it's natural to think, maybe he has draws, maybe not. Can have any of the pairs. Probably not an ace. We get to the river, obviously checking queen high. See a check back, we see 7-5. And now we have a really strong read. And we call it the punching bag read. Super passive play with 7-5. Super passive play with King 10 before. And now all the dots are connecting in terms of how do I play against this player? I punching bag the guy. Now you guys can understand the ace-8 play from before. And maybe the hero call on the river as well. He has tens, but he has busted draws. I'm sure it's not a complete punching bag. He might bluff busted draws sometimes. But with this hand, maybe never bluffs busted draws. Seeing this showdown, I would actually not have ever called ace-8 on the river. I'd always have just check folded. And just play our hand. So I actually happen to play king queen like a punching bag sim, but that's what you want to do with all your hands. That's why we train the punching bag sims, guys. So we see this showdown and now we're like, okay, I know exactly how I'm gonna play against this guy. Okay, so exciting. Okay, ace-5 suited, flop station we go bet check, turn station we go bet flop, bet small on the turn, river station, whatever. So have a good hand. So then bet flop. Definitely bet this against any type of station. Even a river station, I would go ahead and say bet this on the turn because it improves on rivers enough and it's an okay turn bet. So we get here, we do this, we shove because we have the nuts. I can't imagine I ever get called. I would have remembered if I got called in this hand. I'm sure I would have remembered. Yeah. Okay. Last hand. Queen 10 off against Ben A. Punching bag practice, guys. So Queen 10 on deuce 4-6 rainbow would probably start out with a bet of anything, 25 to pot. All the sizes are okay. Sometimes barrel not too big. And that's it. So here I decide to check back. He checks. And punching bag sim would have me bet this. And then he checks the river and punching bag sim would have me bet this. So I was obviously not well practiced on my punching bag sims, guys, and should have thrown in bets. Of course, it's stronger than it seems in the sense that he's looser than a normal sim, and also he's checking down tons of hands that beat me. But that doesn't mean it's not a plus EV bluff, and I think it probably would have been. Okay. So I will wrap up the drills here. I hope it helped you guys a little bit to hammer in some of the points. Playing against someone who's a station is more fun when you have it than when you don't, but kind of the nuances are when you have something that can improve on the river a lot, you probably want to barrel it more early. And weak stuff, we will try to check early, but depending on the hand, sometimes we don't have to. Sometimes we're going to two-barrel it. There's still stuff going on. But yeah, it's something important to practice. You face these guys, you see a showdown, you need to know how to do this instinctively so it doesn't require mental effort. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next chapter.